Numbers matter. Alright, I'm sorry I'm a little sick, but here we go. A poop story. Part 2. Let me be clear that there really isn't a part 1 to this story. Or there is, but it's everyone's story of chronic constipation and the irritating side effect of being blessed with hemorrhoids. After about a week of my colon acting out separation anxiety with my bowels, a few hemorrhoids appeared. No big deal. I've been dealing with these unwelcome visitors to my butt since I was 16. I automatically restock on the different creams and fiber supplements because I know what being without them feels like, and I'd rather always be prepared. Perhaps it's weird that Preparation H is always on my standard packing items when I'm leaving town, but I never know what different foods will do to me or want to be stuck somewhere having to learn the foreign language word for hemorrhoid cream. I'm happy to report that it's almost the same pronunciation in Spanish. But this most recent adventures with butt lurkers went on a little too long and did not seem to get better with care. All the usual routine was followed. The Metamucil was drunk, the fruits and the stool softeners ingested, and still by the end of Friday, I was almost immobile with pain. Fortunately, I even have a remedy for my butt hurts so much I begged for the sweet release of sleep. But I only got 3 good hours in before I was awoken by some of the worst pain in my life. I had been keeping track of my main offender. Big Barry is what I had nicknamed him earlier on Friday. But by Saturday morning, it had now become Behemoth Berry. Not a blueberry in size. It was now a wannabe apricot. It hurt to stand, sit, lie down, and after about an hour of trying to find the yoga position that would maybe calm it down, I finally wanted to face it head on and figured out the best angle to take a picture and bring the hemorrhoid into full view. Oh, it made me nauseous. It was purple and blue and looked like it might burst from my ass and become its own being. After carefully deleting the photo, and emptying my trash so that the memory could immediately start to fade away and not accidentally be sent to anyone, I started to do the I'm in pain dance while researching online the severity of my situation and where to seek medical attention. I learned many terrifying things from the internet that day. In regards to hemorrhoids, and saw photos that looked similar to mine where people had indeed had it pop and create a bloody mess and suffer even more pain. This was not for me. Unfortunately, my I'm in pain dance made it difficult to read through search engines to find urgent care centers that would take my insurance. I called 3 of them and have now received the knowledge that urgent care centers do not service those who are in severe hemorrhoidal pain because it can get pretty serious pretty quick. Or maybe they just don't want to touch buttholes. Lame. It became apparent that I would have to go to the emergency room to receive proper attention and relief. I've never been to an emergency room before for myself. Crisis centers? Yes. But an emergency room where others are suffering similar levels of pain? At least I'd be around people who understood. Now, you'd think I'd be able to call someone to come and help me drive to an emergency room, but my dad was not impressed by my circumstance. Perhaps he has not had the luck of experiencing the pain that feels like you're being stabbed in the anus with a butcher knife that twists over and over. He said I should take some Tylenol and call him if I was incapacitated, and that then he would come and get me. Well, I'd already taken Tylenol. And I felt pretty exhausted and unable to focus on anything but how much pain was getting to me. But I admitted that I hadn't actually tried to drive myself yet. So I grabbed a bunch of pillows and my favorite blanket and went out to the car. Breathing like I was about to give birth, I heaved into the car and realized I didn't want to go through the pain of being heaved out, and made my way to the nearest emergency room at Memorial Hermann, who I knew would take my insurance because they were featured on some of the slides back during our benefits presentation, and my memory likes to hold on to details like these for little moments where it can prove how useful it is. But I can never find my keys. I got there, and fortunately, because it was midday on a Saturday morning, not a lot of people were in line. Unfortunately, I realized that my pain was not really visible other than my tears and grimaces. No one could really see the peachy intruder. I was worried I wouldn't be taken seriously enough to be attended to, but was immediately given a room after finishing with my paperwork and allowed to undress and wait for an expert. When the doctor came in, she had a nice, comforting doctor voice, which was pleasant, although it was difficult to be chatty when I was breathing so heavily to manage the pain. Before looking at it, she started to counsel me on proper eating and drinking habits. It's an occupational hazard to drink lots of water when you're a high school teacher. Bathroom breaks don't come easy, but she recommended I double down on my nighttime and weekend intake. I immediately agreed to everything, maybe even giving up cheese forever, because I just really wanted to know if I was about to be devoured by what I assume had now become a cantaloupe blocking any chance for feces to escape in my future. Finally, she went over to inspect, and I heard that comment that I know I make when I'm not really sure how to stay calm in recognizing a disaster. Oh, no. That probably doesn't feel good at all. Yes, doctor. I don't think I really knew pain before today. She immediately left the room, and I could hear her making phone calls. She called a couple of colorectal surgeons who unfortunately do not see patients on Saturday, but apparently pick up the phone for their doctor pals. I couldn't make out everything except that she kept asking a lot of questions and going through different scenarios. Fortunately, my pain kept my imagination occupied, and I was not allowing myself to think about how this situation could get much worse. Finally, she returned with our next steps. She was going to give me pain medicine until I could be seen by a surgeon. That did not seem like a permanent solution. She also offered to give me prescription-strength preparation H and hydrocortisone. This was very appealing. I never had the hard stuff before. She made me take the hydrocodone immediately, which helped me to finally breathe and stop leaking tears. It also made me believe that I was actually okay to drive again, even though it definitely says on the bottle to not do that. For 2 days, I waited out my pain with drugs, but nothing got better, and now I was throwing up. Not completely sure why, but I think my body was just reminding me that everything was the worst, even if the pain had lessened. The colorectal surgeon was not available at a time when I could actually go to their office, and it being the end of the school year and almost no windows for taking time off. The apricot turned into a grape and stayed grape-like no matter what I did. I waited. Actually, I'm still waiting. I called the office several times and tried to reach out to other doctors who may be available, But unfortunately now my insurance is not revealing to me someone who won't max out my HSA. Especially since my last conversation featured the words surgery and colonoscopy. I'm also hoping it pops. Because I'd rather deal with the pain and mess now than the ridiculous medical bills. I already know the emergency room trip will not be fun on my budget. And meanwhile, our federal legislators don't seem to be helping people at all, and part of me thinks I just need to take a week off and take care of this now before the healthcare system explodes. And the other part thinks perhaps dealing with the smoky corpse of a system might be better. I have enough pain medicine and have devoured gallons of water to believe I can last for another 5 days. And I'll get myself seen then somehow. But please, eat your veggies. Drink your water. Don't look at your phone on the toilet. It cuts off circulation where it's needed most. Get one of those potty stools so you're angled correctly. Be regular. And if you sense the lining of your colon is getting out of line, don't underestimate the havoc of the hemorrhoid. Thank you.